Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I am Evil Mike. This is going to be my review on comics that were released on September 8th, 2021. I am extremely late for a lot of reasons. One, we had the hurricane here, which really wasn't a hurricane, but stuff did shut down. I lost a lot of power. My phone ended up getting shut off. It's a lot of stuff. So I do apologize. I try and get these out within the week. Technically it's Thursday and it's already past New Comic Book Day for this week, and I haven't even got my books yet. So you're getting this late review. Plus, at the end, some really old books. Alright. So first up, we got the Conjuring the Lover. This is issue number 4, and I think the next issue is the last issue. The story overall has been okay. It's the art that's kind of been wishy-washy for me. It's the first story that's usually, I wish they would have picked a different artist. It's not to say that it's bad art or that this artist is bad at all. It's just, it doesn't really fit. It's a little too cartoony for me. There's parts where it really does work and parts where it just doesn't. And it's really the art on where it misses the mark. I really feel if they would have chosen a different artist, or if this artist would have taken in a different fashion, because to me it looks like Are You Afraid of the Dark episode, and those were great shows and everything, but they weren't really scary, and especially for a book like that's based on this movie, I just thought it was going to be a little more scarier. So we are catching up, sorry about my long rant, but we are catching up with our main character, and she has been cursed. We don't know why she's been cursed, who put the curse on her. I mean, at this point it's kind of like, who cares? I'm pretty sure we will find out, but so the demon or entity that is following her is messing with her. And in the last issue we saw that, she was catching up with this guy, and it looked like they were going to be boyfriend and girlfriend, and as soon as it started to go that way, the entity messed with her, and she got scared and pushed this guy, and it ended up being in front of a bus. Luckily he did not get, he didn't die, but he didn't he took it as she tried to kill him. And then you find out that everyone, everywhere around her at school, because she had just started college, they basically kick her out of school, they send her back home. Then once she gets back home, it's kind of the same thing. Her dad is all for her, but her mom is just on the same kick that everybody else was, like, oh, how dare you, you're so evil, and the mom is more into it, like, did you quit school just so you could come back home, you made us waste all this money. And that has nothing to do with the entity. These are just people, But then you got the entity in the background, as you can see, and he's almost in every shot now, because everywhere she looks, and she knows she's cursed. She just doesn't know what to do about it. She kind of reaches out to her dad, because at one point she does have this bad dream, and she's woken up because of the entity, and her dad comes to the rescue. Her mom even tells the dad that he's babying her and stuff like that. But come on, father and daughter, this mom is crazy. But so we get where the dad does give her some sound advice, and he's like, hey, why don't you reach out to this past girlfriend that you used to hang out with? And she's like, I don't know, and we haven't really talked in a little bit. And he's like, man, you'll never know unless you try. So he does get her to reach out, and they do meet up, and we find out a little more that not only they were like girlfriends, but they were like girlfriends. They were past lovers, and for some reason they just stopped seeing each other and stuff. But they've it was more like the girl went to college and the girl stayed in the hometown, so maybe it was one of those type of things. They do catch up, and of course our friend messing with her again, the entity, shows up, and at first he makes it look like an illusion, like that girl never showed up, this is all in her head. He's really messing with her, and we know, of course, that girl was there, and she just murdered her girl/girlfriend. So in the next issue, we're gonna see the ramifications of now she's murdering people. We thought she did that the last episode, but no, she did this time, and there's no this guy jumped out of a bus. we do get a lot of these great fake advertisements in here. I really wish this one was real. You know, it's talking about like, hey, you could watch Annabelle and go on murder mysteries with the nun, and I don't know, it just sounds kooky and wild. The side story is called it is called Tales from the Artifact Room, The Sleeping Song, and basically this woman finds a like jewelry box that has a song in it, and it's got this weird creepy clown thing on it. I mean, that should have been the first, hint. But it does look like a like circus parasail type of a music box, and basically she says that she started up the music box, and the music box showed her that her husband had came into their child's their newborn child's room, and he got tired of all the noise, and he just couldn't take it, and he eventually killed the child. For some reason or other, their child did pass away, and this is the mother's mourning, but the child was not murdered in that way. I think it goes, there was no need for investigation. It was something natural or something like that. And this music box is just really messing with this lady. It gets to the point where the husband comes home, and she starts accusing. At first it's like sly stuff, like dropping little hints, but eventually it's all out like, oh, you murdered our daughter, and blah blah blah, and to the end, the husband is like, man, and she eventually kills him, but the husband still states that he didn't know what she's talking about. He did not murder their child, and we do see that it's because of this entity in the music box. It's got a picture of a little boy that was just messing with the lady, and at the very end, the lady ends up going crazy, and she's just sitting there with the music box with the picture of the little boy, and she's kind of realizes that she kind of knew all along, and she just allowed the kid to mess with her, kind of thing. Overall, is a good little side story, but that was the Conjuring the Lover, issue number 4. Next up, Batman Catwoman, issue number 7, with an artist change. We got Liam Sharp. I know a lot of people like Liam Sharp. For me, it was hit and miss. I would say there was really great panels. There was other panels that were, they were okay. I'm not gonna say that there's no definition of bad art. Again, it's set up with 3 different stories. If you don't know this story, it's Batman and Catwoman, going off that they are a married couple, and eventually they have a daughter. In the future, story, it's kind of like this murder mystery thing where they're trying to figure out who killed Joker, and we, the reader, know that it is, Selena Kyle, Bruce Wayne's wife, that kills the Joker, eventually getting tired of Batman doing the revolving door, fun around game with Joker. She gets tired of it, and she kills him. We get some hot, sexy romance, with Batman and Catwoman. And this issue is basically like setting up like how she was able to even be allowed to kill Joker with Batman being Batman. And we do see that it is a sexy scene, and she knocks him out, and Bruce Wayne wakes up in a vault with a note saying that that she has triggered the alarms, that the cops are on the way. He is butt naked. And that's going to keep him busy while she goes and kills the Joker. They go into the current story where this is the after that she's killed the Joker, and it's not new, but Dick Grayson in this version of the story, he is the current commissioner of Gotham City. He comes to arrest Selena Kyle, assuming that it's going to be this massive cat fight and it's not. She goes peacefully. She did what she needed to do. She even has this great conversation piece on, asking Dick on why Batman chose the colors of Robin that he did, and it was, Nightwing or Dick Grayson says that it was in the hopes that people would be so passed out by the colors that that they wouldn't shoot at him first, or it was the opposite where they would shoot at him first, and the answer really was that because he had to wear those colors, it made him an easier target, and it thus made him strive to be a better crime fighter type thing. It was actually Batman trying to, like, you know, always, you know, be at his best type thing, you know, and that's what he wanted for Dick Grayson, and that's what turned out, you know. We do go back to the, like, I would say, like, it's the past story, but Batman is realizing and already coming up with a plan. He takes a knife that he has hidden within his Achilles heel. It's in his skin. He pulls it out and cuts his face. After that, he starts taking the blood off his face and smears it all over his body, making it look like he is this wild, crazy man. We go back to the you know, it would be the current but the future situation where, you know, Catwoman has already killed Joker, and this is their daughter, Helena, and she is the current, you know, Batman slash Catwoman. She goes back and forth to both roles, but she just, it's a father with, you know, it's a conversation with her father, and yeah, of course, I think at this time he has already passed away. And she is just stating, like, how could you be with Catwoman? You are so different. Yet, you know, Helena is more like Bruce, and she turned out to be more like Bruce about the justice and the not killing and the, you know, and that kind of thing. And she's just questioning her mom, even though she really loves her mom as well. You know, it's a hard situation. We get more into the, you know, the cops showing up with Bruce Wayne, and you know, having to go in there with this crazy guy locked in this bank vault. And we just see that the cops do not do too well. They go down there and it is too close to space to actually use their weapons or anything, and he just plows through all of them, breaking bones and being as brutal as he can. And we see, while all the cops are in the mix-up, they end up fighting themselves because he switches uniforms and sneaks out, actually getting fixed by a cop and then knocking that cop out. We see some nice, you know, mug shots of Catwoman being taken in the investigation. We go back to the past, and they are talking about, you know, like back in the day when Catwoman actually tried to murder Joker, and it's way back in the beginning of the story where the Phantasm is involved, and she says that Andrea was the one that, I mean, she sliced Catwoman up. You can see here she's bleeding, holding her stomach. So we're kind of getting a twofold situation, like Catwoman in the past is saying that Phantasms killed Joker, which was her MO to begin with. It was always revenge for Andrea. But in the future situation, after Catwoman is locked up, we see that she has taken notes from Batman's playbook, and she is literally doing the same thing that she did from the beginning of the book. She's, you know, pulling the, you know, it's a nail from the callus of her heel, and it looks like she's about to escape prison. But that was Batman and Catwoman, number 7, and I think it's out of 12. So we're almost done with that series. In a long-going series. Okay, these are the old books. Somehow I kind of messed these up, and I just didn't realize that I passed them up. This is Bunny Mask number 3. Not a lot to say about this issue. I mean, it's kind of weird. It starts off with this mugging that takes place in 2 of our main characters. I don't remember their names, but trying to think. I can't remember. I'm so bad with names, guys. But we do see that this break-in is kind of unwarranted at first. We get weird inclinations from this one girl that she knows what's going on, and they kind of mention it here. Like one of the gangsters kind of like right here kind of hints at her, and it's this girl with the white hair. She is new to the situation. We met her in the previous situation, so she's not one of the like main characters. She just kind of showed up, and she's dating the friend of you know, this guy, because these are really our 2 characters. Bay, I know Bay is this girl, but I can't remember his name either. Okay, so after the whole thing, the sheriff that actually helped our main character in the very beginning of the story in the cave where he met Bay, Bunny Mask, for some reason the sheriff shows up and shoots all of them dead. we do end up seeing that the sheriff kind of got hinted about the situation, and we find out later why, like how he knew to show up at this situation. He does go into asking the girl with the white hair if she knew anything about the situation, and she's like, no, I don't know. You know, I mean, it's all random, just like everybody else. Everybody else in the situation is kind of like, you know, I don't have no damn clue who those people were, you know, and the sheriff is just like, well, I'm glad I could, you know, help y'all out, you know, that kind of thing. He tells them that they're not going to be able to stay at the house anymore because crime investigators are going to show up and blah, 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 and they got to make plans for other places. So, of course, and his name is Tyler, but Tyler goes over to Bay's house, and they just can't, I mean, he's been seeing a lot of her anyways. So, of course, he goes over there, and she has a sleeping bag ready. We do see this weird scene that cuts over with these two kids and this one boy being really mean to a cat. It looks like they're like brother and sister, but the sister is not a big fan of what the boy is doing. He's just being destructive. All of a sudden, Bunny Mash shows up, scares the little girl, and basically asks if she wants to know the future. She does grab her teeth, and she says something about that there is, you know, they show it right here, but they show that there's some kind of magic in the teeth. Of course, we saw in the first issue that, you know, that Bunny Mask had a thing with teeth. But she tells the little girl that you know, that she's going to have like kind of a normal, happy life, that her brother is not going to have a so happy, normal life, and there's going to be this one moment that he's going to regret not looking both ways before he crosses the street, and it is all in his, like, it has to do with his rage and his violence and stuff like that, and Bunny Mask even states, like, oh, you should be happy that you know that you just have to deal with his, you know, his meanness for just a little bit longer, kind of thing. We catch up with, you know, the sheriff going over to Bay's house, and the sheriff being a little more caught up to Tyler and Bay's situation. There is this mention of, you know, that Tyler asked the sheriff about voices, and they kind of pass it over and stuff. They do eventually go back to the cave situation, and the sheriff tells Tyler why he really came there is because he went back to the cave, and for some reason they finally found the real entrance into the cave where Bay's father had her kidnapped. Now he does state that they never found the cave that Tyler described, but in that investigation they did happen to find Bay's real skeleton down there, as we saw at the end of the second issue. They go back and forth, like trying to say that she might not be real, which makes no sense to both of them. So they just tell Tyler to continue on, and so as he does, you know, he goes back to Bay, and it's at this point it's really weird. At this point she is specifically trying to sleep with him at all costs, and he is just, you know, after the conversation with the sheriff and learning about her real skeleton, and then that it might be like a figment of his imagination kind of thing. Yeah, he wasn't down for the sex. So he eventually goes out to a bar to just, you know, drink and everything, and the sheriff ends up calling him and meeting him at the same bar. The sheriff is actually there before he gets there, so the sheriff is already kind of drunk by the time Tyler gets there. And eventually they get caught up. They go into this whole story about back at the cave, and Tyler tells them that he wasn't honest with them in the first place, that he has been hearing these voices throughout the book. And in the second book we have seen that the snitch, that's what the, like, demon or whatever entity from the cave was called, but the snitch has been talking to him, and not only that, but the sheriff as well. That's how the sheriff really knew about the criminals that had broken into the apartment. The snitch had told him to go there and what time and exactly what was going down. He also told him that the girl with the white hair was lying, and the reasons why the criminals were there was because of that white hair girl. Evidently she saw some stuff that she shouldn't have seen, and they were trying to kill her along with any witnesses involved. They really go back into the Bay situation, and at this point they're just drawing straws. They don't really know what to think of that situation. As he's going home, he ends up, like, you know, finding this lost dog, and of course he's really drunk, but he stops to pet the dog, and we see that it's not a dog at all. It is Bunny Mask. She creates these like shadowy looking creatures, these frightening, dog looking things. And she basically tells them that, there's like two ways that it could go. You could either, get, the I forget the way she puts it, but it's like the teeth of the dog could either go like, where they tell you the future, or you could be inside the teeth of the dog type of thing. But basically, she kind of like gives him a kiss and tells him that, that kind of the same thing from the second issue. Basically, anytime that she needs him, she only needs to call on her, and she'll be there, kind of thing. That's the end of the issue. We do see in the next issue, for some reason, they have a child involved, so I don't know. It's been a really weird read. I'm still invested in it, but it's been really weird. But answers are getting answered, so yeah. All right, from AWA Upshots, we got Fightgirls #2 from Frank Chow, Sabine Rich. We are down to 1, 2, 3. I think it's 5 girls left. We in the first competition took out a lot of girls. For those of you that don't know, this is a competition style. These 10 girls, in these 4 matches, have to go up against each other to win the title of bearing like a child, or being a queen for like this king. And I don't know. It's really weird what they win. But anyways, they are all in this competition trying to fight for the right to be the queen to this intergalactic king type thing. We see that they are instantly teleported to this desert planet where they get right into the goodness. And at first it just looks like an empty desert and stuff, and the girls start taking off, and it is mentioned right off the bat that they better be careful, and they quickly learn why. We saw in the first issue that the girl with the eye patch is not who she seems to be. She's kind of like this spy from the, like, I think it's the Blackwell region or something like that. We don't know what the intent of the spy stuff is, but we do know that she is. She states that she has trained on this planet and kind of warns the girls, and that's when these sandworms pop up. And she tells them that is the smallest, part of the obstacle course that they're going to face, are these sandworms. I think for the most part all the girls end up like escaping and everything and have no issue with the sandworms, but they do get split up. We do catch up with this investigation reporter who is investigating on the girl with the eye patch. He is like flown to her home planet and is trying to do more research. He does find out that she has like a adopted mother or something, that she has an adopted mother that has information on her, so that's where he's going after that. We see some more of the threats, this huge, mega scorpion that comes out of nowhere. For the most part, they pass it through this one too with the help of the eye patch girl. She ends up tossing a rock, and most of the girls think she's trying to help, minus one. There is one girl that knows that she was trying to kill her. But we do see the main big obstacle of this course, and it is this giant like sand tortoise turtle monster thing. But not only that, but as soon as he because they are supposed to be making it to this like teleportation grid thing. I don't know if they show it here. They do, and it's really, really tiny, but it is up here on this cliff. But they are supposed to be like traveling through this thing to make it up to that teleportation thing. It's basically like first gets here, wins the round, but they all have a chance of going on to the next round if they make it there. And of course, when the turtle pops up, he destroys the bridge over there, so they're all trying to figure out how to make it over there. The eye patch girl just lunges and makes the jump across the other way, and eventually all the other girls do. There is one rival to the eye patch girl, and she, like as you see, she kind of knocks her in the back of the head as soon as she makes it across, which ends up starting a fight between the two down here, which allows some of the other girls who are not fighting to pass them up and make it to the teleporter first, winning the round. The other girls stop fighting and eventually make it to the teleporter themselves. like kind of damning, you know, like how could we be so dumb kind of thing. We do see that this one girl over here with the black white hair, she ends up like being, you know, very crafty and kind of distracts the turtle, and she ends up like hopping across the turtle's back. I think I passed it up real quick, but there is, let's see, I'm trying to think. Could have swore. Well, maybe not. All right. Sorry about that. I could have swore something else happened right there. The girl does end up making it off, you know, using the turtle's back and up the neck, and she ends up making it up the, you know, to the teleporter herself. I think at that point, there's like 2 more girls left. I don't know. I'm lost. We do get to this investigation where this guy does end up, you know, finding the adopted parent to the Blackwell person, and we find out that it's not the, you know, that supposedly the child that she watched, she had died a long time ago, so this is some kind of poser. And the thing I've been looking for is I think one of the other girls in the competition did die. It was from the turtle. She got squashed by the turtle. I couldn't find it right now. But technically this competition went down 5-4. I apologize about that. I was looking for it. I know it happened somewhere in there. But one of the girls does get squashed by the turtle. There's nothing like fancy about it. She just makes like a wrong step or something, and the turtle's like... we do see at the very, very end that this reporter, as he is leaving the adopted mom's, you know, investigation, that there are some, you know, armed people outside ready to, you know, possibly kill him, make sure that information never gets out. We do see that the next competition, which I think the issue dropped yesterday because it was on New Comic Book Day, but this issue should be out, but it looks like it's going to be a water competition. But I apologize about the review and that, but somewhere in there that girl died, I don't know, but the main review was there. But overall it was a great read. I love the art, I love the story, all these books, man. Trust me, I'm going to tell you when it's bad, you know, just like the art in the very beginning of the story. Alright guys, that's my reviews. I got a couple, I might have 1 or 2 more reviews because I got about 3 more hours before my comic book shop opens up so I can get my new comic books. But that's my review, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, share, you know, all that good stuff. Alright, I'll see y'all later. Love y'all. Bye.